The National Basketball Association. I like this rule. Basketball has always been my first love. I played football professionally, but I, to my core, love basketball. I heart it. I don't know where or when we got to this place of resting. I'm not going to blame LeBron. Can we blame LeBron? We blame LeBron? I'm a Jordan Kobe fan. Can we blame LeBron? All right. You're like, just you're not being fair. You said that you were going to be fair. I'm not going to blame LeBron, but I'm going to blame LeBron. We have come to this point in time in NBA-ness where players are now resting. It's been 82 games since I've been two. It's always been, for I can remember, it's been 82 games. And for whatever reason, players didn't have issues playing 82 games and still having a long career. See, sometimes information is good. But sometimes too much information for some of you bozos, y'all taking it, run with it. And so now all these statistics start to come out and analytics and all this stuff starts coming out. And guys start running with it. Maybe I'm old school, but I come from the era where you play. Unless you are significantly injured, you play. Now guys have load management, no back-to-backs. And maybe the NBA can kind of do better with how they arrange some of these things. And maybe 82 might not be with these athletes today. It's wild that Dr. J played in some low-top Converses. Some Chuck Taylor. Have you ever had a pair of Chuck Taylors on? George Gervin was finger rolling in Chuck's flat feet and all. Magic was hee in Converse. He didn't have the bubbles and the technology. That's what Magic was out there talking trash. You better get him. You better get him. He in Converses. Feet was on fire probably. You walk 3 blocks in some Chuck Taylors today, my feet are, my dogs are barking in some Chucks. Dr. J was going from the free throw line up and under the hoop. Kareem was scout. I mean, these dudes was like playing. The floors weren't as good as they are now. They didn't have specific insoles. Like, if you ever noticed when a player gives his shoes away, what's the first thing they do? They go inside, they pull all orthotics out. Those orthotics are important. They pull them out. Them jokers ain't have none of that back in the day. 82 games. But the NBA Board of Trustees and governors unanimously voted on Wednesday to approving tougher resting policies and punishments for star players. Now, they've already said prior to this voting that they were going to, they mandated now that you have to play 65% of your team's games to be eligible for postseason awards. So that's your MVPs, your Defensive Player of the Years, your Sixth Man of the Year awards, and all those type of things. Now, I know a lot of players have incentives in contracts. You get to be an All NBA player, All Defensive Team, whatever, yada yada yada. You get bonuses. Certain guys, if they get them, they're eligible for bigger contracts. So that was one way that the league said we got to get these guys playing, and I'm with them. When certain players come to town, For those of you that don't know, I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We have Luka Doncic in town. Really good player. One of the best. But when LeBron comes to town, it's a hot ticket. Steph Curry comes to town, hot ticket. KD, hot ticket. Giannis, scorching ticket. Right? These players come to town, and I personally, I sometimes take the bougie approach. I don't want to sit way up there. Kind of want to sit a little bit closer. Now, I'm not saying I'm sitting courtside. I'm not sitting up there. So if I pay $300-$400 for a ticket and Steph don't play because he rested, I'm ready to fight. I am ready. KD don't play, I'm ready to fight. I want to see good versus good. I want to see all-star versus all-star. I want to see the very best against the very best. I come from that era where you looked forward to traveling to that other all-stars team. If Luka is supposed to be one of the top players in the National Basketball Association, then when I go to Dallas, I ain't sitting out. Nah, he got to see me. Because I need him to know and the world to know that I'm the best. So the NBA is kind of saying, like, listen, guys, it's a bad name for us. It's a bad look for us. We're not setting a good example because ticket prices are expensive. Parking, concessions. And if you got a family, you're trying to give your kids that experience, and they're, Luka fans, if they're Devin Booker fans or Anthony Edwards fans, or whoever, Ja Morant, whoever it may be, and you worked overtime and you saved up and you were like, let's go, son. Dad's taking you to the game. And his favorite player is, name him, LeBron James, Kevin Durant. And you get to that game and you just worked all that overtime and your boy is excited to spend this time with daddy, but most importantly, he's here to see his favorite player. And 90 minutes before the game, LeBron James is not playing, resting. Healthy scratch. Kevin Durant, healthy scratch. Luka Doncic, healthy scratch. No back-to-backs. You're like, what? I'm sorry, son. I know that we came to see Steph Curry. I'm sorry. He's not playing tonight. He's resting. What a letdown. What a letdown for that kid. What a letdown for that dad. I spent $400 to get to this game. To give my son, my daughter, my family an experience, and because you tired, I don't get that chance again. I don't know the next time I'll have an extra $400 to take my son or my daughter or whoever to a game to give them that experience. And so this part, I'm happy that the NBA is doing this. And the qualifications of this is that NBA teams cannot sit two of their all-stars. And how they determine that is the NBA defines a star player as someone who has made the all-star or all-NBA team in any of the previous 3 seasons. Can't sit them for nationally televised games. And if you have 2 of those guys on your team, you cannot sit them both at the same time. If teams begin to break these rules, the NBA will incorporate fine system for teams beginning at $100,000 for the first offense, $250,000 for the second offense, and $1 million or more for penalties after. And I don't know if that's enough, But teams must manage their roster to ensure that no more than one star player is unavailable for a game. For example, the Boston Celtics will not be allowed to rest both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum at the same game unless they are both injured. Teams must ensure that players are available for nationally televised and in-season tournament games. I hate to stay up sometimes and watch a West Coast game, and you find out, it's on TNT. You like, oh, it's gonna be a good one. It's whoever. It's Lakers, Warriors. Let's go. No LeBron, no Steph. Come. Really? I like Charles and Shaq and the crew. Not staying up for that. You lose viewership. Team must refrain from long-term shutdowns or near shutdowns. When a star player stops participating in games or playing in a materially reduced role, it's circumstances affecting the integrity of the game. Under this scenario, the Washington Wizards and the Portland Trail Blazers would have been investigated by the league last year after shutting down Bradley Beal for 10 games and Damian Lillard for 11 games, respectively, at the end of the season. Teams must maintain a balance between the number of one-game absences for a star player in home games and road games, with preferences for those absences to happen in home games. Meaning, if you're KD or LeBron, when y'all go on the road, those road teams, you may only play certain teams a couple times in the year. It's not like if you're in the Western Conference, you're going to play more West Coast teams more often. Or even when you're playing home games, right? They have 41 opportunities to see you at home. The other 41 is dispersed amongst the other teams that you're playing. So you got to make sure that when you're going on the road, if you're going to rest guys, do it at home. Because there's 41 chances for a family to see you at home. But this is the part that this is what's going to get real tricky. The NBA will allow pre-approved designated back-to-back allowance for players who are 35 years or older on opening night and have a career workload of 34,000 regular season minutes or 1,000 regular season and playoff games combined. If a team feels that their star player is unable to play in back-to-back games, it must provide the NBA with the written information at least 1 week prior explaining why the player's participation should be limited. The league has also said that the team can seek approval for star players to be unavailable for one end of a back-to-back, based on the player's prior and unusual injury history. Other exceptions include multi-game absence for bona fide injuries, personal reasons, rare and unusual circumstances, roster management of unavailable star players, and end-of-the-season flexibility. But I like this for the NBA. I do. You guys get paid a lot of money. Play the games. Because people pay a lot of money for those tickets. For your sneakers. Sneakers now, $150 a pop. From LeBron's start at $200. Kyrie's $150. KD's $150. Paul George, $125. John Morant's $150. The Giannis's $150. The Steph Curry's about $120. Come on now. Show up. Play. What you get paid to do.